two of the top six players in the league, maybe arguably the best player in the league in Son Heung-min. I've got LAFC winning it all in 2025. I've got two LA teams winning it back-to-back years. And I think LAFC are going to be the 2025 MLS Cup winner.
다들 점심 메뉴 정하셨나요? Good afternoon, everybody. 여러분들이 점심을 드시는 동안 제가 재미있게 보실 영상을 가지고 왔습니다. 어떤 영상이냐? 바로 미국 방송에서 손흥민 선수의 우승 가능성에 대해서 언급을 해서 화제가 되고 있습니다. 그래서 여러분들이 좋아하는 풀 영상으로 보여드릴 건데 바로 제 미국 브라더이라고 할 수가 있겠죠. MLS 무브라는 채널에서 이번에 손흥민 선수 우승 가능 시나리오를 공개해버렸습니다. 와, 이분이 메이저리그 사커 측에서 잔뼈가 굵은 분이라고 할 수 있고 미국 사람이다 보니까 메이저리그 사커 팀 모든 팀에 정통하다고 할 수가 있겠는데 이번에 손흥민 선수가 우승 가능하다라고 충격적인 예상을 해서 화제가 되고 있습니다. 그래서 이 영상 보시고 나서 이제 이 채널 찾아가서 구독도 해주시고 제자의 채널 보고 왔다, 더 좋은 영상 많이 만들어줘 라고 댓글도 달아주시면 감사하겠습니다. 그리고 이 영상은 오늘 오전에 올라온 영상입니다. 여러분들에게 가장 먼저 소식 전해드리라고 풀 번역본 영상으로 보여드리는데 다른 경쟁 채널들 막 20만 30만 조회수 나오더라고요. 조금 억울하거든요. 아마 제가 구독자가 부족해서 그런가 봅니다. 영상 보시고 마음에 드신다면 구독도 부탁드리겠습니다. 그럼 손흥민 선수가 어떻게 우승한다고 예상을 했는지 관련 영상들 바로 시청해볼까요?
It's that time of the year. MLS Cup playoffs are officially here, or they're starting on Wednesday, the play-in match. Now, the next matchup we have is LAFC versus Austin. Now, LAFC have been arguably the hottest team in Major League Soccer since Son Heung-min came to LAFC. He has helped this team score, I think it was like 20 goals in 6 matches, which is incredible. Him and Denny Bouanga's chemistry is undeniable, and what they've done is probably, boasted the best tandem in MLS, right? They've been damn near unstoppable in the MLS, the final half of the MLS season. Austin FC is injured. I don't think they're quite there yet. I don't trust Nico Estevez as a manager. Obviously, Brandon Vasquez got hurt earlier in the season. That was their big-time signing up the top as a striker. He's not playing. Owen Wolff has been really good this year, too. He's emerged, but I just don't think they have what it takes or the horses to win this race. And I think LAFC are going to sweep Austin FC in the first round of the playoffs. I think they're going to win both matches and cruise by to the semifinals of the Western Conference. Now, this is probably the best series of the entire playoffs. LAFC versus Vancouver. And it's funny because a lot of people were tired of this series because Vancouver and LAFC have played so many times in the last couple of years, but this is the most excited I've ever been to watch this. We get to see LAFC, Son Heung-min, Denny Bouanga versus Thomas Muller, Brian White, Ryan Gauld. So many good players facing off against each other, and one of the best semifinal games we've probably ever seen. These are two teams that many people could see going to the MLS Cup final. I think LAFC are going to win this match, and it's going to be very, very close. But when you have two of the top 6 players in the league on your roster, I'm going to give you the advantage. Now, Vancouver is a tough place to play at. It really is. It really is. Now, we make jokes about the carpet that they have. They call a pitch, but LAFC is just different. Like, they can score in so many ways with Son Heung-min and Denny Bouanga, and they can score so much. Like, we saw a 3 or 4 game stretch where they had a hat trick in a row. Like, that's unheard of in MLS. I'm going to give the slight edge to LAFC. So, we're down to the conference finals. We have Seattle Sounders versus LAFC. It's Charlotte FC versus Miami. All right, starting off with the Western Conference. If you followed me and you've listened to what I've said, the biggest thing about Seattle, of why I don't consider them to be a true MLS Cup contender to win it all, is because they don't have a striker. They've relied too heavily on Danny Musovski. Jordan Morris has been hurt. They just don't have that striker that we're used to seeing them have when they won MLS Cup. The Raul Ruiz-Diaz, Clint Dempsey, Obafemi Martins was sold, but still, we're used to seeing them have a top-end striker, and they don't have that. They don't have that. And I said LAFC have got Son Heung-min and Denny Bwanga, and yes, they have Steve Cherundolo, who I don't trust as a manager, but I think LAFC have what it takes, and their attack is just so potent, it's so lethal, that they are going to win this match and make it to the MLS Cup final, which I don't think a lot of people would have thought at one point, but Son Heung-min has just completely revitalized this team. Now, the Eastern Conference final, Charlotte FC versus Miami, game is at Chase Stadium. You know, Messi is incredible. He's going to be MVP of the 2025 season. This team has exceeded my expectations as far as when they had a bad spell that they would even be able to make it this far, because Javier Mascherano is a disaster. And they win in spite of him, not because of him. They have some great players like Silvetti, Baltasar Rodriguez. Rodrigo de Paul hasn't been nearly as good as he should be. Yannick Bright has been pretty good, but he's not playing anymore because they're starting Rodrigo de Paul next to Sergio Busquets. But their back line is just so suspect and bad. I cannot put faith into Inter Miami's back line. I can't. And I think Charlotte FC do a very good job of countering Inter Miami, and I think Dean Smith is a better manager than Javier Mascherano. I think Charlotte FC are going to upset Inter Miami in the Eastern Conference final and make it to their first ever MLS Cup final, beating Lionel Messi and taking on LAFC in the MLS Cup final. And I'll say this real quick about Inter Miami. They need to get younger and ditch some of these older guys and build around Messi. Then they would be a serious contender to win MLS Cup, to make it there. But until they do that, I just don't see it. Last year, they lost to Atlanta United in the first round with a better team than they have this year. The 2024 Inter Miami team was better than the 2025 Inter Miami team. So I think that's going to be their undoing, and they will not make it to the MLS Cup final. All right, LAFC versus Charlotte FC. LAFC will be hosting this MLS Cup final. This is going to be a very, very, very good game, in my opinion. And I think it's going to be not high scoring like many people would expect, because I said earlier about Son Heung-min and Denny Bwanga's scoring ability for LAFC. I think Dean Smith's a better coach than Steve Cherundolo, and that's why it's going to be a real challenge for LAFC. And I think it's going to be a very close game. I don't think it's going to be some 3-0, 4-1 blowout. But I do think LAFC are going to win, and it comes down to them having the better players. They have two of the top 6 players in the league, maybe arguably the best player in the league in Son Heung-min at this point, arguably the best player in the league. And when you have that, you have to take that advantage. Like, you have to say that gives you a leg up when you're playing in the final and you're playing against a team who your second best player, Denny Bwanga, would be their best player on Charlotte FC. I've got LAFC winning it all in 2025. I've got 2 LA teams winning it back-to-back years. And I think LAFC are going to be the 2025 MLS Cup winners. And it's thanks to Son Heung-min and Denny Bwanga. You guys let me know. What do you think about my picks? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know who you guys think are going to win MLS Cup in 2025. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a like down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already.
이렇게 미국 방송에서 손흥민 선수의 이번 시즌 메이저리그 사커 우승을 예상했는데, 와, 여러분들의 생각은 어떠신가요? 댓글로 다양한 의견들 남겨주시면 재밌을 것 같습니다. 그리고 아마 오후에도 또 제가 소스가 있어서 이렇게 풀 영상 번역본으로 영상 올려드릴 것 같은데, 그 소식도 조금 쉬다가 올려드릴 것을 약속드리면서 이번 영상 마치겠습니다.